So does that justify everything that you do?
Excuse me, let me tell you something. What do you think they were doing it for? Because they were trying to save us from poverty? No, they did it because they needed us. It's honor and family and loyalty. And some of us wanted a piece of the action. Now, we weren't educated like the Americans, but we had the balls to take what we wanted.
Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome back to another live edition of On The Go right here on Driving to the Top Productions. I'm your host, Big Hoss, and I'm bringing the sauce. What's up, everybody, on this hump day, December 17th, 2025. 1 week from tonight, it's Christmas Eve. Christmas is right around the corner. Christmas a week from tomorrow. Are you guys that are in the holly jolly spirit? Are you feeling a little holly jolly yourself? Who don't love Christmas? By the way, sorry for the delay. I was working on some new projects. You'll hear a couple tonight on this show later when we get to the 713. But before we go any further, you know what to do. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on X at BigHoss337. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. On The Go, you can find on X and Instagram at _TXLA. And of course, Driving to the Top Productions, you know where to find them. So on all social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, X, whatnot. Of course, this show is presented by Rogue Energy, the official gaming drink of On The Go, and by Poggers, the official vitamin supplement of On The Go. Pick your poison. Go to either rogueenergy.com or poggers.shop. There's that promo code right there, OTG, to get 10% off of your order, whichever you choose. I got a loaded weekend, and once again, I have a lot of positivity to talk about. I really don't have no negativity at all. So for the second week in a row, let's get things kicked off in the 504. Y'all ready? Let's take it to New Orleans real quick. Let's kick it off. Oh, we're starting hot in the 504. As a matter of fact, where's all the Pelicans fans at? Let's start with the Pelicans. So let's take flight on the start, because the New Orleans Pelicans, since last show, y'all have only had 2 games. And guess what? They've won both. We got a win streak again. Whoo, get back.
Get back.
Get back.
Go back to that. They beat the Portland Trailblazers 143 to 120. I think that was on Thursday. Yes, last Thursday on December 11th, they got the win over the Trailblazers. Trey Murphy was a beast in that game. I mean, he led in the game with 24 points, 10 for 14 in field goals. He was 3 for 4 in free throw shooting. He also had 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 turnover. But Shadiq Bey led in that game with rebounds with 8. He also had 15 points and 5 assists. Jose Alvarado led in assists with 9, plus he had 2 turnovers and 4 points. While also Jordan Poole, 22 points. Bryson McGowan's 23 points. Jeremiah Fears, 19 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 turnovers. Derek Queen, 17 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists against the Portland Trailblazers. But to make it even better, they had another game this past Sunday in Chicago and got another big win. So now they're on a 2-game win streak. They beat the Chicago Bulls on Sunday in Chicago, 114-104. So that puts the New Orleans Pelicans at 5-22. Yeah, that's not a good record, but hey, it's a start to try and make some type of comeback with a whole lot of season left to go. This one, Trey Murphy, he led in points and assists in that Bulls game. 20 points, 8 for 14 in field goals, 2 for 3 in free throw shooting. plus he led with 10 rebounds. Derek Queen led in assists with 5, plus he had 2 turnovers. Herbert Jones had 10 points. Shadiq Bey, 10.6 rebounds. Jeremiah Fears had 20 points. Jordan Poole, 16 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists. And even Zion, Zion was playing his back. He played again. He had 18 points in that game, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 turnover. It's been a while. I don't know what's the deal with Zion. I know he's been getting hurt. It's like as soon as he starts playing a game and he balls out, he might sit out like 2 or 3 games and he's back again. Hope it ain't nothing serious. I'm hoping to be able to start continuing to play more and more and more because they can win games, especially when you got all that talent, including Zion, to play there. Now, what's coming up next for the New Orleans Pelicans until next stream? Well, tomorrow's going to be a heartache for me because 2 teams I cover on this show are playing one-on-one again. The New Orleans Pelicans are going to host the Houston Rockets, who are currently hot right now, one of the hottest teams in the NBA. I'll talk more about them later. So that's going to be tomorrow night. I'll be sure to check that out. Saturday, December 20th, they're back at Smoothie King Center hosting the Pacers. And then Monday, December 22nd, they go to Dallas to play the Mavericks. And Tuesday, December 23rd, they go to Cleveland to play the Cavaliers. So, excuse me. Next show, I'll have 4 games to recap for the New Orleans Pelicans. Very questionable about that Rockets game, but I'm pretty sure a team like the Pacers and even a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers, I can see them beating. Dallas, they could be a challenge. Dallas is 10-17 as of right now. Hell, they could win 3 out of 4 right there. Guaranteeing a win against the Pacers for sure, and possibly the Cleveland Cavaliers. Only bad part is they're playing in Cleveland. Cleveland's a tough place to play. But hopefully we can see something. But here's one thing I want to start bringing up every week just to kind of keep the talk going for the New Orleans Pelicans. A few team leaders so far this season. Trey Murphy is averaging 21 points per game, leading in points. He also is leading in rebounds at this season, averaging 6.5 rebounds per game. Derek Queen is leading in assists, averaging 4 assists per game. Plus, Trey Murphy's leading in steals, averaging 1.7 steal per game. And Yves Missy is leading in blocks, averaging 1.1 block per game this season. So keep it going, pals. You made me proud last week. Keep on grinding and keep on winning. And let's get more than 22. Let's get more than 22 wins. Let's pass that because, at least y'all not the worst team in the NBA right now, but at one point you were. But if you can keep on winning like this, you would no longer have to be the laughingstock of the NBA right now. But currently, not the laughingstock. I want to say it's the Brooklyn Nets. Because to be honest with you, I haven't been looking at records lately, but as of right now, you're currently the 2nd worst team in the NBA. You're above the Washington Wizards, who are 4-20. Brooklyn jumped way ahead of them. I'm not even going to break down that list. Just know y'all on thin ice to being the worst team of all in the league right now, but you're one ahead of not being the worst team. So keep moving up that ladder and get out of that last place column. Because it's not going to look good for that. But I'll tell you what's looking good right now. I'll tell you another team from New Orleans that's on a hot win streak right now of their own, the New Orleans Saints. Man, I know their season's going to be done in a couple of weeks, but at least they're trying to finish strong. They split with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the week prior. This past week, they took down another team that was second, back-to-back weeks at the time, the number 1 team in the NFC South. They took down Tampa Bay, and then this past Sunday, the Carolina Panthers took first place, and the Saints got them in defeat, beating them 20-17, sweeping the Carolina Panthers in division play. The Saints are now 4-10 of the season. All I can say is right now they have one more game left to play against the Atlanta Falcons. So they're 2-3 right now in the NFC South. No, they should be 2. No. Did I get it wrong? Oh, yeah. No. No, they should be 2-2. No, shit. I can't even do fucking math right now, and I'm not even drunk. All right. They lost. They beat Tampa Bay, lost to them. Lost to the Falcons. Yeah, so they're 3-2 right now. They're 3-2 in the NFC South. Try and go 4-2 if you can beat the Falcons towards the end of the season. So, but they swept Carolina. They beat them 2017. Here's some numbers in this game. 337 total yards, 256 total passing. Rushing, there were not good numbers, but we need to fix that. And I'm going to give my points on that. But Tyler Shuck, let's talk positive about Tyler Shuck here. I think I've said for the last couple of weeks, we found our quarterback. We got our QB1. In this game, he went 24 for 32, 272 passing yards, 1 touchdown pass to Chris Olave for 12 yards. He also led in rushing. He had 8 carries for 32 yards. Devin Neal. Well, no. Did I type that wrong? No. You sure it wasn't 121? I figured I might have had a mistype there. Before I even finish this, let me just see this real quick before I even go any further. Total rush. 81 total rushing. Still not good numbers. I'll talk more about that. Yeah, I'll say, wait, they had more than 21. Tyler Shuck led in rushing with 32 total rushing yards. Plus, you had Devin Neal, who had 7 carries for 28 yards and a touchdown. But a couple other, I didn't put the rest. But 81 total rushing yards. I know that was what's another game under 100 yards. We're going to have to fix that problem when we get into the draft. But receiving, I think we good on receivers. I mean, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't bother them drafting a receiver in the near future, maybe late in the draft. But meanwhile, Chris Olave led in receiving in this game, 6 catches for 85 yards and a touchdown. Devon Vale, 5 catches for 69 yards. Audric Estime. Oh, Lord. Please tell me I said that name right. Estime. Is it Estime or Audric Estime?
If one of y'all says some silly ass name, this whole class is going to feel my wrath.
Anyhow, Audric had 3 catches for 39 yards. Kevin Austin Jr., 3 catches for 33 yards. And Jawan Johnson, 4 catches for 30 yards. Defense looked pretty good. 61 total tackles, 37 solo. 1 sack courtesy of Chase Young. And 5 tackles for a loss. Five tackles for a loss for that defense. 5's the magic number. You've heard it week after week. You're going to hear that clip. Well, 3 games left for the Saints. There's a chance they could win out. Before we talk about that, I want to kind of bring up what do the Saints really need. Everybody's already making mock drafts for 2026. If you want to make, I think their receiving game is perfect. I wouldn't say perfect, but it's good enough. Now that you got a QB that could throw targets at guys like Chris Olave and Jawan Johnson and company, and Devon Vale and Audric, we need a good run game because we have no power running. We got no protection. I know lately in the last couple drafts, we've drafted like at least 3 linemen in the last few years that I can recall. Trevor Penning, Taliese Fuaga, Calvin Banks Jr. Maybe we need to draft another lineman or 2. But depending on Alvin Kamara's future, if we're in the verge of drafting a running back, I say we got to get Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame if we need we want a young, powerful running back. But if we need better O-line to protect not just the quarterback, but protect the run game, I say maybe draft like a center, maybe draft another guard. Whether if Trevor Penning's rotating at guard or tackle, I still say he was not covering it. But he's no longer with us anyway. I think he got traded. Last I checked. Oh shit. Yeah, he got traded to the Chargers. So maybe draft a tackle. Draft a center or draft a tackle. So we'll figure something out. But meantime, Saints got one more home game left, and I'll be there. So anybody from New Orleans area that listens to this show, you find me on the street, say what's up. I'll holler at y'all. They got the New York Jets, which, oh man, New York. Only a few games all season where the Saints were favorite. 3-11. Well, the Saints were the favorite. They had them -4.5. That's a potential. They could possibly cover that. 63% say the Saints are going to win their final home game of the regular season Sunday against the Jets. But I'm waiting to see. As you're looking, we already know one thing. I'm actually excited to see it for the first time in person. The Saints are wearing their black helmets for a third time this season in the Dome. We just don't know what color jersey yet. I'm hearing rumors they were supposed to pull these gold jerseys out one last time. They did it on their opening night with the Cardinals, and there were speculations they were going to pull it out one more time against the Jets. So that means they were going to wear black helmets, gold jerseys, black pants. Plus, I'm also hearing a rumor they might do another all blackout like they did against the Falcons. Black helmet, black jerseys, black pants. Looks cool, but you know what? I've already seen the blackout even without that helmet. I want to see these bad boys in person at least one time. I know they're hardly going to wear them, but I say wear that shit at least twice a year. Give them a chance to see it at least 2 times a year. You wore it week 1. Why don't you wear it? You wore it for your home opener. Why don't you wear it for your final home game of the regular season? Because I've seen the black on black a bunch of times. I've seen the traditional look at least once. I've seen the away look, tradition look at least once. I've seen one of the most ridiculous combos ever. The last Saints game I attended, the final home game of the 2022 season, this was back when we still had Andy Dalton at quarterback. They once wore gold helmets, black jerseys, white pants. It was the most horrific dog shit I've ever saw. Whoever came up with that uniform combo situation.
Off is the direction you can fuck.
Never wear that combo again. But man, if you're going to bring the black helmets out one more time, fingers crossed y'all got the gold jerseys on. This is what I'm going to wear when I go to the Dome this Sunday. I'm wearing the gold jersey. I've already wore the other, never wore the color Russian at a game. I've wore the home black one. I've wore the white one on the road. I'm going to wear gold Sunday. So hopefully we got our fingers crossed. They wear gold jerseys one more time against the Jets. With that being said, give me let's go with a prediction here before we take it to the 225. So Saints win big. I'm gonna go off a limb and say 27-10. I'll say Saints beat Jets 27-10, and they move to 5-10. That's my final word. Yeah. And one more thing. Before we go, I don't have really much to say on Tulane. All I know is they got a big game this Saturday, playoff game. I'm going to predict that when we do our college football predictions. Big rematch with Ole Miss. I know we all know what happened the last time they met at the Grove, but hey, anything can happen. I'll talk more about that when we get to it, but I want to give Tulane love in the 504 talk. Well, all right, let's keep this going. Y'all ready to take it to Tigerland? Let's go to the 225 right about now. All right, now that we're in the 225, we got quite a bit of LSU basketball we're going to be talking about here. So let's go on and kick things off with another edition of the PMAX show. Let's start with both teams being in New Orleans this past weekend. By the way, New Orleans was super busy this past weekend. We had both teams playing at Smoothie King Center for the Compete for Cost Classic. Both teams went successful. Not to mention, we had the high school football state championships this past weekend in the Dome right next door. By the way, congratulations to all the high school football teams that won state. We had one team in our area that won it all for the first time in their school's history. Shout out to the Iowa Yellow Jackets representing the 337. You guys made history. Winning your first ever state title on your first attempt. You know, after you've been a program for 70 plus years, you made it to the title game first time ever, and you did it on your first try. The only team from the 337 to advance. Plus, you become the first team in the 337 to win a state championship since 2017. So it's been a long time coming, and first time in over 50 years a team from Calcasieu Parish won a state championship. So y'all put Calcasieu Parish on the map. Y'all put Iowa. Y'all put y'all on the map. Rabbit Festival stand up. Iowa stand up. Go Jackets. Jeremiah Bushnell. Hey, Houston, I know when we get to you guys later, y'all got a good wide receiver coming y'all way. Shout out to Jeremiah Bushnell. Been heading his way to UH. But we're not here to talk about UH in this segment. We're going to talk some LSU basketball. We'll start with the boys, even though they closed out the Compete for Cause Classic. They only had one game since last stream. They took on SMU in the Smoothie King Center. They beat the Mustangs 89-77. So now 9-1 of the season. Man, when are you going to put these guys in the top 25? In that game, Markel Sultan led in 23 points. Plus, he led in rebounds with 12. Dean Thomas Jr. led in assists with 12. Plus, he had 16 points. Max McKinnon also had 22 points in that game. And Pablo Tamba, 14 points and 10 assists against SMU. What's next for the Fighting Tigers in the PMAC? Well, they got 2 more games until next stream. This coming Friday. Well, they're both going to be at the PMAC, actually. Friday, December 19th, they host Southeastern Louisiana. The Lions out of Hammond. So we got a Battle of the Cats. 7 p.m. tip-off on SEC Network Plus. And then Monday, December 22nd, back at the PMAC, and you can watch this on the SEC Network at 6 p.m. They host Prairie View A&M, the Panthers. So we got another Battle of the Cats. And then after that, they won't have another game until after Christmas, and one more game in the month of December we'll talk about later in next week's show. Meanwhile, Kim Mulkey's Tigers still ringing noise, despite all the haters saying, oh, but they're not playing anybody. Who gives a crap? They had one game at the Smoothie King Center. Kim Mulkey played her alma mater, the Louisiana Tech. Boys teams, they call them the Bulldogs. Girls basketball, softball, they call them the Lady Techsters. Why don't you just be the Lady Bulldogs? I don't know what Louisiana Tech's thinking there. LSU beat Louisiana Tech 87-61. That game, Michaela Williams had 19 points. She was 6 for 10 in field goals, 5 for 6 in free throws. Plus, she had 4 assists and 5 rebounds. But Flau'jae Johnson led in that game with rebounds with 10. Plus, she had 13 points. Jada Richard led in assists with 8 assists and 3 turnovers. Plus, Kate Caval had 13 points and 5 rebounds, and Elijah Fulwiley had 10 points in that Louisiana Tech game. But then this past, I think it was on Tuesday. So yesterday, they had a game back at the PMAC where they dominated Morgan State 91-33. So now that puts Kim Mulkey's Tigers at an undefeated 12-0 record, still the number 5 team in the country. These girls are cooking, despite what the haters saying they ain't been playing nobody, which they played some people. They ain't got no competition yet until they get into the SEC play. But anyhow, in that Morgan State matchup, Michaela Williams led in points with 14. She also had 5 for 7 in field goals, a perfect 2 for 2 in free throw shooting. She also had 4 rebounds, but Grace Knox led in rebounds with 7. Plus, she had 10 points. Elijah Fulwiley led in assists with 4, plus a turnover, and she also had 11 points. And Flau'jae Johnson had 14 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 turnovers against Morgan State. And shout out to Kim Mulkey. They got her. When they scored 67 points, they got her to do the 6-7 thing, which it was kind of funny to see her do it, but it's kind of been a trend now. Literally, any college basketball game, I'm pretty sure they do it in the NBA. If a team gets 67 points, every single kid in that arena is going to go ape shit crazy, and they're just doing that crap. Not seen it in person yet at a basketball game down here. I really don't want to. Anyhow, what's next for Kim Mulkey's Tigers? Well, she'll be back at the PMAC hosting UT Arlington at 1 p.m. on the SEC network. So just one game for her. And then we go from there. Oh, shit. I didn't even get the picture up. But man, I got one thing LSU football related for this show. That will conclude the LSU basketball talk. I'm not going to have no picture or graphic up or nothing because I forgot to post it. But one thing I wanted to talk about, you're going to see my reaction for this. They dropped the 2026 football schedules. I don't know if every team's already dropped theirs, but I know the entire SEC dropped their 2026 football schedule. And I got LSU's right here. Some teams already knew they were playing, but I guess it's the order they're playing it. So you may not see it. Unless you can find it, you can look at it with me and we can discuss it. So week 1, we all knew this. They were hosting Clemson. Labor Day weekend, September 5th, they hosted them Clemson hosted them this past season in the Temu Death Valley. Now, 2026, we're going to host Clemson in the real Death Valley in Baton Rouge. Lane Kiffin's debut is going to be against Dabo Swinney and Clemson. Then week 2, they got another home game, one of 2 in-state opponents. They're going to host Louisiana Tech on September 12th. I guarantee it'll also be a Saturday night in Death Valley. Circle this one on your calendars, folks. September 19th, 2026. Hang on. Let me make this header for y'all so y'all don't get confused with what's going on right now on the show. For those who are just tuning in, I am reviewing. Here we go, right here. It's just so people know we're on track. I'm reviewing the 2026 LSU football schedule they dropped about a week ago. I already said, first 2 games of the season are at home. Why do I have a fucking timer on this? Timer off. All right, here we go. So, first 2 home games of the season, they're hosting Clemson and then Louisiana Tech. You know, I had a timer on it. All right, there we go. Now, it ain't going to go away now. All right, as I was saying, first 2 home games, Clemson, Louisiana Tech, back-to-back Saturday nights in Death Valley. September 19th, 2026. Circle that on your calendars, folks. Not only is that their first SEC game of the season, but Lane Kiffin's going now to you could call enemy territory. First SEC game is against Ole Miss in Oxford, in Oak Grove, at the Grove, Von Hemingway Stadium. There's going to be a lot of bad blood in this. Ole Miss might be our new most heated rival with taking their coach. Oh, and their way of bouncing back was, we're going to take your interim head coach and make him our new offensive coordinator. They took Frank Wilson. Frank Wilson's going to go and be the offensive coordinator for Ole Miss. Okay. Hey, fine. I'm all right with that. You think that's going to piss me off? Hell no.
Now, isn't that a load of horse shit?
September 19th is going to be something. Hopefully belt to ass. I would be worried if we go in there, Lane Kiffin goes back to Ole Miss as the enemy and drops it, but we're not going to think about that. But yes, first away game, first SEC game, Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin going back to Oxford. Oh man, that's going to be something. College game day better be in Oxford for that one. Meanwhile, September 26th, they're back, and October 3rd, back-to-back home games in Death Valley again. Texas A&M, September 26th. McNeese, October 3rd. So that's like one game for sure you can catch me at. I'm going to make sure I'm at the Clemson game as well. October 10th, they go to Kentucky. October 17th, they host Mississippi State, so we get to play Mississippi State once again. First time in a while. October 24th, this one makes me excited. We haven't played this team since, was it 2021 or 2022? We're going to play Auburn for the first time in quite a while. The Tiger Bowl is back, but they're going to Jordan-Hare to play the Auburn Tigers. They will have a bye week on Halloween, and we're going back to only having one bye week instead of two. I'm actually glad about that. November 7th and 14th, once again, back-to-back home games. Two big ones, by the way. November 7th, they host Alabama. November 14th, their final home game of the regular season, they're hosting Texas. Whoo, shit. Can you imagine if Arch Manning ends up staying, we can finally see him play in Death Valley. Arch Manning, don't go to the NFL. That's another game I'm going to make sure I'm at, because I've already seen Arch Manning play in high school. I want to see him play in Death Valley and get beat. And then their last two games of the season are on the road. November 21st, they go to Tennessee. They go to Rocky Top to play the Volunteers. And finally, we're no longer going to have to close out on rivalry week with Oklahoma. We are going back to the basics. We're closing out with the Battle of the Boot. We got our old, long-time heated rival back at the end of the season, Arkansas, for the Golden Boot, but we're playing it in Fayetteville, except it's not on Black Friday. But hey, I'm glad we got them back to close out the regular season. But that's God's plan. Like, it's not on Black Friday, because if it was on Black Friday, I wouldn't be able to watch it with how my work is with the holidays. So the fact that he put it on Saturday, I salute that. Thank you, God. So that's the 2026 football schedule reaction I got right there. And trust me, you'll hear about it again in the future when I do an LSU football preview. Well, without any further ado, let's go ahead and take it in my neck of the woods. Y'all ready to go to the 337? I am. Let's do it. Now that we are in the 337, one team not looking good, so I'm just going to jump over a bridge and say let's go ahead and talk about the McNeese Cowboys real quick. Let's do a Bayou Bandit duel talk on McNeese basketball before I have to give this rant on the Raging Cajuns right now. Since last stream, McNeese basketball has only played 2 games. This past Friday, they went into conference play and hosted East Texas A&M, beating the Lions 102-66. Quick recap, Tyshawn Archie led in that game with 24 points, 9 for 11 in field goals, 1 free throw shot made it. Larry Johnson led in rebounds with 8, and he had 17 points as well. Carl Sharonfant led in assists with 6, plus he had a turnover and 9 points. Javon Garcia also had 11 points and 3 rebounds. And DJ Richards Jr. in that game. And this past day, they played the Houston Christian. They got the win 78-68. As of right now, McNeese basketball sits into the conference record of 3-1. They should be 4-0, but first game didn't coach well in conference. But recap in Houston Christian victory, Larry Johnson led the game. He was 15 in field goals, no free throw shot. Jarrell Colbert led in rebounds with 7, plus he had 12 points in that game. Garway Duel led in the game with 5 assists. DJ Richards Jr. also had 14 points, 17 points for Tyshawn Archie. And Javon Garcia had 11 points in that game with 3 rebounds and 4 assists. Now, it will be quite a while before McNeese plays basketball again. Let's just say on next week's stream, you ain't going to hear no McNeese basketball talk. No Bayou Bandit duel talk next week, because McNeese don't play basketball again until December 29th against Michigan in Ann Arbor. The number 2 team in the country. Oh, buddy. I don't like that. but I get a little bye-week break talking McNeese basketball, and you'll hear me talk about them again in a couple weeks. But that's what's next for McNeese Cowboys basketball. They go to Ann Arbor, the number 2 team in the country, Michigan, on December 29th. You heard it here, folks. Meanwhile, I'll just go back on the other way and just get this rant out of the way real quick. But the Raging Cajuns are currently playing in the 68 Ventures Bowl right now against Delaware, and they're going into the fourth quarter, and it's not looking good. The Cajuns are trailing 20-6 to Delaware.
You bunch of losers! You're working with a professional here!
I just have to get that out the way because most likely, unless they run this clock, you may not get a quick recap of this game right here, but you might get it next week. I might put it as a bonus just to do some 337 talk. So I'm probably going to do that because without McNeese basketball going on, I won't have nothing to talk about in the 337 next week. So I might just do my actual breakdown of this soon-to-be bowl loss on next week's show. Anyhow, let's go ahead and keep this rolling. Y'all ready to take it to H-Town? Let's go to the 713. All right, welcome for Pop Tops Drops in the I don't know about y'all. I ain't zero, but I am so Houston ready to talk some Houston stuff. Where do I want to start? Let's go ahead and talk about the Houston Texans real quick. They also made me happy, just like the Saints did. Texans win 40-20 over the Arizona Cardinals. They now sit at 9-5 of the season. Trying to make noise in the division if they can keep on winning. I feel like if they want a chance to sneak in and win the AFC South, I feel like they have to win out. I'll talk more about that in a bit. But meanwhile, in this win over the Cardinals, 399 total yards. They're just 1 yard away from being at 400 total. 256 passing, 143 rushing. CJ Stroud, 22 for 29. Yeah, not a bad game. 260 passing yards, 3 touchdown passes. No, 4 touchdown passes. I didn't make that up. 4 touchdown passes, 2 to Nico Collins. 1 for 57 yards and 1 for 4 yards. 1 to Woody Marks, a little short pick for 1 yard, and Dalton Schultz for 4 yards. So, correction, 4 touchdown passes for C.J. Stroud. Not bad for C.J. Stroud that game. Jawar Johnson led in rushing. He had 15 carries for 101 yards. But they couldn't get any rushing touchdowns in that game. Woody Marks had 7 carries for 30 yards. Their run game wasn't as good. But Nico was catching bombs. Woody Marks catching bombs. Dalton Schultz catching bombs. C.J. Stroud throwing bombs, baby. But Nico Collins did lead in receiving in this game. 3 catches for 85 yards and 2 touchdown catches. Dalton Schultz had 8 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown. 72 total tackles for the defense, 38 solo, 2 sacks courtesy of Danielle Hunter and Danico Autry, 4 tackles for a loss, and we also had an interception from Kamari Lassister. So, hell yeah. And if you've missed the Battle Reds against the Buffalo Bills a few weeks ago, the Texans are coming back with the Battle Reds this Sunday as they host the Las Vegas Raiders, who are coming in that game 2-12. Oh, I absolutely love the Battle Reds, folks. But this is what the Texans have if they want to make noise and pull a rabbit out the hat to win the division. Number one thing, they have to win out. What they got left, they got the Raiders. I could see them winning that game. I'm going to go ahead and off the limb and say I see the Texans possibly scoring 40 points again. I can potentially see the Texans shut out the Raiders. I may sound corny saying that, but I'm going to go off the limb and go with 1 or 2 predictions here for the Texans. They're either going to shut out the Raiders 41-0, or they're going to beat them 47-10. But they got the Raiders at home. 2 days after Christmas, they go to LA and play the Chargers, which could put them on thin ice of trying to win because the Chargers is going to be probably one of their toughest games remaining. And they host the Indianapolis Colts. Now that there's no Daniel Jones, you got Phillip Rivers taking over, which I'm going to talk more about Phillip Rivers later. There's a good chance they can beat the Colts. Again, sweep the Colts. The Chargers is gonna be the main. If they can beat the Chargers, I could see them winning out. Plus, they need Jacksonville to lose whatever they got left, which they can use a lot of help because they got the Denver Broncos next. They need the Jags to lose at least one, and they have to win out to try and get back in first place to win the AFC South. But anyhow, yes, the Houston Texans battle Reds against the Raiders. Got them winning big, whether if it's a shutout or a blowout. So Texans win against the Raiders. Well, without any further ado, we'll get into some basketball talk real quick. Let me go ahead and start things off with the Houston Cougars. And this is what I like to call, as you've heard before, the Red Alert.
Go Cougs, this a Red Alert. C-O-U-G-A-R-A.
Who it's all about?
It's all about the Cougars.
It's all about the Cougars.
Now you know why it took a little while to get on here. I worked on a couple projects, and that was one of them right there. My basketball little segments are going to have their own intro videos. So that was one right there. This is the Red Alert on Houston Cougars basketball. Since last stream, this one's going to be a quickie. They've only played one game. One game I would have considered attending, but we had Christmas parades and everything and whatnot I had to be a part of. But they hosted the University of New Orleans, so Master P was probably in H-Town. Cougars won that game 99-57 against the Privateers. So as of right now, the Cougars sit at 10-1 of the season, number 8 in the country. And in this game, Chase McCarty led in that game with 15 points, 4 for 5 in field goals, 4 for 5 in free throws. He also led in rebounds with 6, plus he had 1 assist. But Milos Uzan led in that game with 10 assists and 7 points. And Kingston Fleming's 15 points and Mercy Miller 15 points. What's next for the Cougs? Well, they go across the country Jersey for a game that was voted in the top 10 as the ranked number 1 in the top 10 college basketball game this week. They go to Newark, New Jersey to play the Arkansas 9-2 of the season, 14th in the country. So we got a top 15 matchup in Newark. The Never Forget Tribute Classic. 10-1 versus 9-2. This is like a playoff game. You can call it an NC Big 12 if you want. Houston is a heavy favorite against the Razorbacks. Arkansas's kind of been a sneaky team in basketball. I mean, they actually have a good, decent program. Oh, what the hell happened here? Sorry about the technical difficulties. You'll have that on these big guys, but better than ever. Sorry about the technical difficulty issue. That wasn't off the air too long, but I was looking up Arkansas's last games. I'm seeing what kind of a streak they're on right now. I think their last loss was on the 27th of last month against Duke. They lost FCS Sports Thanksgiving against Duke. And since then, they've won 4 in a row. They beat Louisville in the SEC ACC Challenge. They beat Fresno State. They upset Texas Tech. And they I won't even say decimated Queens Queens kept that going, but they beat Queens. Gonna be a hell of a game. I think they could pull it off. I think they could pull it off. I know they could pull it off. This is the uncrowned national champions of basketball. They should. Their time's coming. It's coming, folks. Meanwhile, that's all they got on the Red Alert segment. So I got another segment we're gonna do. This is gonna be my final segment in H-Town before we get to anything else, NFL and college wise. Y'all ready to talk some Houston Rockets? Let's go ahead and light the fuse.
Light it up, light it up, light it up, light the fuse, light it up, light it up.
Taking out like a rocket.
Light it up, light it up, light it up, light the fuse, light it up, light it up, light it
Taking
up,
out like a rocket.
Oh, I love that. That was probably my best work I've done right there. But let's go ahead and light the fuse. Let's talk the Houston Rockets real quick. They've also had 2 games this past weekend. They've only won one, but they didn't lost the other one. But hey, they on the win column. So I said everybody won this week so far. Even though the Rockets didn't win both their games, they still got a W and that I could talk about. That win came last Thursday when they beat the Los Angeles Clippers in the Toyota Center. They beat them 115-113. Şengün was a beast in that game. Şengün led in points and rebounds. He had 22 points, 9 for 22 in field goals, 4 for 6 in free throw shooting, and he led with 15 rebounds. And to cap off his stats, he also had 5 assists and 5 turnovers. But Amin Thompson led in assists with 8. Plus, he had a turnover with 20 points, 16 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, and 5 steals. Jabari Smith, 18 points, 4 assists, 4 turnovers, and 10 rebounds. And Reed Shepherd, 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists in that game. While in their last game, which was this past Monday, they went to Denver, lost only by 3 points. They lost to the Denver Nuggets 128-125. So the Rockets currently sit at 16-7 so far this season. Şengün, another dominant performance. 33 points he led, 14 for 27 in field goals, 5 for 6 in free throw shooting. He also had 10 assists, 4 turnovers, and 10 rebounds. Amin Thompson led in rebounds with 12. Plus, he had 14 points, 6 assists. And KD had 25 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 5 turnovers against the Nuggets. And what's next for the Houston Rockets? Well, I said tomorrow night they're going to play the New Orleans Pelicans. But then after that, they got, just like the Pelicans, they got 4 games until next show. They play Denver again. They go back to Denver on Saturday. Early start time, so they have a chance to maybe go back and get redemption there. Then they go to Sacramento on the 21st to play the Kings. And then they go to LA on the 20th. Actually, they're in California till Christmas. We don't know. They got a Christmas Day game with the Lakers. We'll talk more about that next week. But yeah, Nuggets, a little West Coast trip. Nuggets, Kings, Clippers. And then for next week, I'll talk the Lakers on Christmas Day. So December 23rd, they'll be at the Intuit Dome against the Clippers, and it's going to be a late game on Peacock or NBC at 9:30. I can tell you that. So that's all they got for them. Let's some more stats for the Houston Rockets. I ain't been keeping up with this either. Stuff that I need to do every single week. Team leaders this season so far. Kevin Durant leads this season in points, averaging 24.8 points per game. But Şengün, this season, he leads in rebounds, assists, and blocks, averaging 9.4 rebounds per game, 7.1 assists per game, and averaging 1 block per game, while Reed Shepherd leads this season in steals, averaging 1.6 steals per game. And that's all I got on the Houston Rockets. right there. All right, so I might as well just keep it on the basketball talk before I wrap things up with football. I know this past week, they just wrapped up the NBA Cup. We'll go ahead and talk about that. I know they played the last game last night, and the New York Knicks become the third team to win the NBA Cup. Since this Cup tradition started, we've had 3 different teams win it, and the New York Knicks become the first team from the East to win it. But let's go back and recap the quarterfinals real quick, because I haven't been keeping up with the single elimination stuff after the group play. So in the quarterfinals, the Magic beat the Heat 117-108. Knicks beat the Raptors 117-101, while in the West, the Thunder beat the Suns 138-89, and the Spurs beat the first NBA Cup champions 132-119. Then we go to the semifinals that happened in Vegas on Saturday. The Knicks beat the Magic 132-120, and the Spurs beat the Thunder, last year's NBA Cup champions, 111-109. So that put me thinking, the Spurs might win it. They beat the first 2 champions, but this was a hell of a game. Knicks pulled it off. They were the favorite. So when was the last time the Knicks won any type of championship? Any type of trophy they brought back to Madison Square Garden? They beat the Spurs in the NBA Cup 124-113. But it looked like it was a hell of a game. Let's look at some numbers here. Let's recap this. I want to see who led in this game. We'll start with the champs. We'll start with the New York Knicks. OG Onoboy led. Yeah, I said the name right. He led in points with 28 points in that game. He went 10 for 17 in field goals, 3 for 5 in free throw shooting, while Mitchell Robinson led in rebounds with 15, and Jalen Brunson led in assists with 4 turnovers and 8 assists, while in 41 minutes of play. Where on the Spurs side, Dylan Harper led in points with 21, and he led in rebounds with 7, while Stephon Castle led in assists with 12, and he had 2 turnovers in the NBA Cup matchup. So there you have it there. That will recap the NBA Cup. I didn't really enjoy it because, first off, Pelicans had no chance in it, and the Rockets, one loss technically cost them a chance to move on and advance. So I really had no interest in the NBA Cup this year. Well, all right. Well, y'all ready to move further? I sure am. So let's go ahead and do some recaps of college football. When I say the final regular season recap, there was literally only one game, the one rivalry game that closes everything out. Army-Navy is always the final regular season game. And Navy pulled it off again. They were trailing big at one point, and they came back and won the game by 1 point. So Navy got to play their fight song last, which is the tradition. You want your song to be played last. But it's the pregame stuff I love. I love the marching from both sides. I love the support, like all the soldiers attending these games in the freezing colds, wearing their warms and everything. The Army wearing like that charcoal black look. Navy wearing like the navy blue look and everything. Or the black coats. They look black from far away. Even President Trump being there for the coin toss. But Navy pulled it off again. They beat Army again. So that was your final regular season recap. Let's look at the FCS quarterfinals real quick, because we had some shocking turn of events in this one. Montana State handled their business with Stephen F. Austin. Villanova keeping it close with Tarleton State. But something told me, like, I thought the Titans were going to pull off. But Wildcats had something to say about it. But So Montana State beat Stephen F. Austin 44-28. Villanova beat Tarleton State 26-21. Montana handling their business with South Dakota, beating them 52-22. And I called it. You heard it last week. I said Illinois State was going to have another upset, and they did just that. They beat UC Davis in California 42-31 to move on to the semifinals. We're down to 4 teams. We got 2 semifinal games happening this weekend. Let's predict these real quick before we do some recaps on college bowl games we've had so far. So we're getting the Brawl for the Wild rematch again, but this time they're not playing for that trophy. They're not playing for the heaviest trophy in college football, or one of the heaviest. They're playing for a chance to go to Nashville to play for a national championship. Yes, the FCS title game is no longer in Frisco, Texas. They moved it to Nashville. They're actually playing it at Vanderbilt Stadium. And if you like, you can watch both games. This one will be on ABC. 3 p.m. kickoff. These two went to war a couple weeks ago, and I enjoyed it. Montana State pulled it off in Missoula. This time they're hosting it in Bozeman Bobcat Stadium. This one is kind of a toss-up. Montana's 13-1. That was their only loss against the Bobcats. Bobcats 12-2. I want to know who's the favorite. Montana State's the favorite. And I always said, if I was from the state of Montana, I'd probably be about that. So I'm going with Montana State to move on to the FCS National Championship, and maybe this time they win one. Because these two are no strangers to championships. Montana State hasn't won a national title since 1984. Montana hasn't won one since 2001. It's been a long time coming for the state of Montana, and they have a chance to go bring one back to the great state of Montana. While on the other side, you got Illinois State versus Villanova. They're going to play Saturday night at 6:30 p.m. Illinois State 11-4. Villanova's 12-2. Illinois State is the favorite. But is this where they draw the line? Is this where the Cinderella story closes for the Cardinals? Because I have a feeling I got Villanova beating Illinois State. I picked the Wildcats at home. It was a hell of a run for Illinois State. You took down the big bad Bison that has them all wanting them to win it all, but something's going to give. If they make it to the championship, hell yes. But I think this is where their journey ends at Villanova. I'm going to go with Villanova to beat Illinois State. And that's my predictions for the FCS semifinals. Let's do a little bit of Bowl Mania recaps because I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't really watched any bowl games so far. I'm watching a freaking ass kicking right now. That's not looking good. So let's go ahead. Well, they're trying to make a comeback. And I got to update this real quick. All I can say, the Cricket Celebration Bowl, what a game that was. Prairie View A&M had this one, to be honest with you. They had this one in the bag, but they went into 4 overtimes, and they lost to South Carolina State 40-38. What a game. First off, what a damn game. Hats off to Prairie View A&M. I know it was a heartbreaking loss. You blew a 21-0 lead at one point. But shit. Give it the Bulldogs were better. 803 Fresh jumping right now. Where them fans at? You know, we got his boots on the ground right now in the 803. South Carolina State, stand up. Orangeburg, South Carolina, where are you at? You guys won the Celebration Bowl. You were HBCU national champions yet again. What a game. South Carolina. Boise State, Washington, the fucked up LA Bowl hosted by Gronk. I picked Boise State, and I had a feeling they wasn't going to pull it off. Washington whooped that ass 38-10. The Iowa, I didn't even watch. I picked Jacksonville and they got done. They tried 17-13. That looked like a real game. Shit. Dude, my shit is fucking tripping right now. Before I internet acts up again, let me get good. Yeah, give me a second. Oh, put it on my phone where I don't get cut off, and I probably lose viewers again. While I get that up, what I was trying to say before I was fucking cut off, the internet's being a fucking dick right now. Staff DNA Cure Bowl, I picked South Florida, and they lost 24-10 earlier today. So right now, I've only won one bowl game so far. I'm currently 3-1. Unless the Cajuns pull a rabbit out their ass, I could be 2-3. Give me a second. I'm getting this sent to my phone. I'm gonna be doing this through my phone in case I get cut off again. So I might pop off for like 5 seconds. You might see a different camera angle, but I'm gonna be off my phone. So in case my this shit don't happen again. All right. So give me a second. I'm almost done with the show anyway. I ain't got many college games to predict. All right, so give me a second. I'm gonna pop on this in about 5, 4, 3, 2. All right. If y'all can hear me now, I got it fixed the right way. Y'all can hear me good? All right, here we go. All right, where was I? Sorry about technical difficulties. The internet's being a fucking ass today. But we're going to continue this on because all I got to predict is a few. But I got only one more bowl game to talk about. The one I'm watching right now, 68 Ventures Bowl. Raging Cages, we're getting their ass kicked. But now it is 20-13. I said I'll have a full review on that. Hopefully they can make a comeback. But we're going to go ahead and predict these bowl games. This is what we're going to have until next week's show. Drop the mic a little bit so y'all can hear me better. All right, so how about this? This is a new bowl game that just started that they're going to bring back tomorrow. The Xbox Bowl. Missouri State and Arkansas State. Exciting bowl name. By the way, there's 2 minutes and 8 seconds left. Delaware's got the ball. It's 20-13 Delaware. But Missouri State, Arkansas State, they're playing it in Frisco, Texas. They're going to play it at the Star. So another bowl game they're going to play in the Dallas area, they're going to play it at the Star in Frisco, Texas. Well, they're also giving them they got some new handheld Xbox thing they're giving them. Every single player that's playing in this matchup. So they're going to get one of those. But let me see if I can get some records up because I know I was talking I was giving records out to these matchups. Let me get this up. All right. Shit. Oh, why does my computer want to be a fucking asshole today? All right. Man, this don't even show fucking records, bro. Anyhow, screw the fucking records. They ain't gonna matter anymore. All right, Missouri State, Arkansas State. You got Conference USA. I think I said I'm picking Arkansas State either way, so I'm going with Arkansas State. Then we got on Friday, we got a triple header of bowl games. Bowl games in one playoff game. Myrtle Beach Bowl, Conway, South Carolina at Coastal, Kennesaw State, Western Michigan. So it's Conference USA versus the MAC. I went with the Owls of Kennesaw State. So I went with them. I think they had a better... God, I wish I could see these fucking teams' records. You know what? I can find a way to do that real quick. But I said I was picking Kennesaw State to win that one. Okay, so as I was saying, the last matchup I said Missouri State versus Arkansas State. Missouri State's going in this game at 7-5, 7-5 record, while Arkansas State's going in that game 6-6. And then you got Kennesaw State versus Western Michigan. Western Michigan is the MAC champs. They're 9-4 overall. They won the MAC conference. They beat Ohio. Miami, Ohio. Kennesaw State, Conference USA champs. They beat Jacksonville State the week prior. They're going in that game 10-3, so I went with Kennesaw. Then we got Memphis and North Carolina State, the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. They're playing this in Tampa, Florida at Raymond James Stadium. So Memphis, that's the American Athletic Conference. Memphis is going in that game 8-4. NC State is the ACC. So it's American versus ACC. NC State is going in with a 7-5 record. and I picked Memphis to win this one. And then, are you ready? We got our first college football playoff matchup, and it's an all SEC matchup. Two teams that met a few weeks back. Number 9, Alabama at number 8, Oklahoma. And we all know what happened the last time they played in Norman. Matter of fact, the last 2 times that these two played each other, or maybe the last 3, it's been a minute since Alabama's beaten Oklahoma. Everybody's saying Alabama's going to pull it off again. They say it's hard to beat a team twice, but this is not the same Alabama team we've been seeing in the last decade or 2 decades. Fingers are crossed. We get an answered prayer. Oklahoma takes out a team that shouldn't even be in the college football playoffs to begin with. I'm going Boomer Sooner. I'm going with Alabama. That's your first playoff matchup. Then your second playoff, you got 3 playoff matchups on Saturday. Your first one, you got Miami at Texas A&M. ACC versus SEC. Texas A&M is 11-1. Miami, I know, has 2 losses. They have 2 losses. They're going to that game 10-2. Some people are potentially saying we could see an upset. I'm unfortunately going to have to say no. As much as I despise the Aggies, I'm going to have to go with Texas A&M. It's in College Station. The 12th man's going to be fired up. I'm going to have to go with Texas A&M over Miami. The one I got my fingers crossed for, Tulane versus Ole Miss. A rematch from, I think it was week 5. Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin, they're going to 11-1 record. Tulane, the American Conference game with 11-2 record in the country. Please let them win. Oh man, this would be great storytelling if Tulane can pull the win off against Ole Miss. So, with that being said, Tulane. What's a good score? How about 30-27? I'll say Tulane beats Ole Miss 30-27. Then finally, our final first round playoff game of the week: James Madison at Oregon. The Sun Belt champs, James Madison, going in that game 12-1, taking on Oregon, who did not win the Big Ten, but they're going in that game also 11-1. I hate to break their hearts, but it's not even going to be close. Oregon is going to decimate James Madison. I'm hoping to have James Madison get a touchdown on the board, but it's not going to be pretty. Oregon is going to wipe the floor with JMU in Eugene. Let's see what else. Only 4 more college games to predict before we get to the NFL talk. So Monday, December 22nd, we got the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. They call it the coldest bowl in college football and the only bowl game to be played on blue turf. It's Pac-12 versus Mountain West, a future Pac-12 member, by the way. So we got Washington State taking on Utah State. First off, Utah State's coming in that game 6-6. Both teams are coming in 6-6. Who is the conference? Who is the Pac-12 conference champion, by the way? Have they ever decided that? Maybe it was Washington State. It had to have been the Cougars because what I'm looking at, Washington State overall record is 6-6. Oregon State is 2-10. Washington State has to be the champs. They're going by a tiebreaker because, yeah, they play each other twice and they've split. But if they're going by best record, then, yeah, I guess they gave it to Washington State. But who wins this game? I think, yeah, I did pick Washington State. So I'm going with the Cougars to beat the Aggies of Utah State. Tuesday, December 23rd, We got a triple header, and this is where we wrap up the bowl talk. We got Toledo versus Louisville, MAC versus ACC in the Bush's Boca Raton Bowl at FAU. Toledo and Louisville. I don't think it's going to be close. Toledo, 8-4. Okay, not bad. Louisville is 8-4. Okay. Two teams with the same record. Okay. But I feel like the ACC is more dominant than the MAC. So I got Louisville blowing out the Toledo Rockets. Big win for Louisville. This one was a flip a coin for me, but we got Conference USA versus Sun Belt here. Western Kentucky versus Southern Miss in the New Orleans Bowl. It's no longer sponsored by RL Carriers, but I always still called it the New Orleans Bowl. Yeah. Southern Miss versus Western Kentucky. First off, Western Kentucky, 8-4 record. The last time they played in Louisiana, they almost beat LSU. While Southern Miss is 7-5. I said if Western Kentucky ever came back to the boot, they would get a win, and they're back. They're going to play in New Orleans December 23rd on a week from Tuesday. I'm going with the Hilltoppers. I watched them play against LSU. They got a really good football team, so I'm going with Western Kentucky to win the New Orleans Bowl. And then our final bowl game we're going to predict tonight for next week's show, we got the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. They're going to play at the Star in Frisco. It's UNLV versus Ohio, Mountain West versus the MAC. So Ohio, where is Ohio? Okay, Ohio, 8-4 of the season. UNLV, 10-3. I'm gonna go with UNLV. I know they got embarrassed in the Mountain West Championship against Boise State, but I bet you if they had played that in Vegas, they'd have got the win. So I'm going with UNLV to win the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl, and that will wrap up the college football talk. Let's go ahead. Oh, shit. Let's go ahead and wrap. Let's get the NFL talk because I'm controlling this on two fucking screens right now. I'm talking through my phone, but I'm doing the banners from my PC. So let's go ahead and recap the NFL real quick. I'm going to keep this short and sweet because I don't have much to say. All right, week 15 of the NFL, I went 11-5 in my picks. The week before that in college, I went 13-5. So I hadn't had a bad week in picks. Falcons, Bucks. Buccaneers got knocked out of first place in that game. That would put Carolina up there. Bills, Patriots, I guess you could say that was basically for the AFC East. I thought the Patriots had locked in. Buffalo found a way to get in there. The Bengals getting shut down by the Ravens in Cincinnati. Jags trying to make noise to win the AFC South, but they played nobody. The Kansas City Chiefs is over. The Chargers gave the Chiefs their loss to knock them out of playoff contention. Plus, their season's basically wrapped up. Patrick Mahomes, look, as much as I shit talk the Kansas City Chiefs and everything, I'm still a fan of Patrick Mahomes, and I'm going to send my prayers out to him. I'm also sending my prayers out to Micah Parsons. Both Micah Parsons and Patrick Mahomes both tore their ACLs in their games this past week. I never want a serious injury on, especially anybody I dislike, but I'm a Patrick Mahomes fan, despite I hate the Chiefs. I hope he can come back stronger than ever for next season. But being that it's this close to the end of the season and he had this serious injury, he could miss like maybe the first few weeks of the 2026 season, because usually an ACL tear can put you out a minimum probably like about a year, 8 months to a year. So yeah, I'm sending my prayers to Mahomes and all them. I know their dynasty's kind of over now after what happened with them with the Chargers. Bears put belt to ass on the Browns. Commanders put belt to ass on the Giants. Hang on, I'm about to see the end of this game. There. Come on, spike the ball. Meanwhile, there's 2 seconds left in the game. Delaware's up 20-13. The Cajuns are in the red zone. They just have to spike the ball to stop the clock. So this is going to be the final play of the game to put the Cajuns on the board to potentially try and tie the game and go in overtime, or it's a game over and Delaware wins their first FBS bowl game. Eagles put belt to ass on the Raiders. Saints swept the Panthers. Let's talk Phillip Rivers, folks. That boy played his first NFL game as a starting quarterback in a very long time. He looked, despite losing a close one to the Seahawks, he looked fantastic for a guy who's in his mid-40s and is a grandpa. Paul Phillips can still play ball, folks. And I loved how they showed, he used to be a high school football coach in Alabama, and they showed a high school football team watching his game, and they were all cheering for him when he threw his first touchdown pass in a really long time. That was special. He's gonna shake things up. The Denver Broncos take down the Green Bay Packers, and that explains why I believe the Broncos could be in the Super Bowl. I think they're going to still win the AFC. They already got the AFC West locked in. They won that. Rams still proving they're going to be the best team in the NFC. I think we're going to get a West Coast Super Bowl in the West Coast. Rams, Broncos in Super Bowl 60. I'm calling it right now. Matter of fact, the last time the Super Bowl was at Levi Stadium, the Broncos won it. They beat the Carolina Panthers. Sunday Night Football, J.J. McCarthy beating the Cowboys like that. I loved every second of that. Oh, we dropped it. All right. Breaking news, Delaware beats the Raging Cajuns 20-13. I'm going to have the numbers typed up next week. I had a feeling that was coming. And then Monday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers not skipping a beat on the Miami Dolphins. Miami's got some problems. That will recap that. Let's go ahead and just wrap this shit up. Week 16 of the NFL. Thursday Night Football is going to be my game of the week. It's a battle for the NFC West. One of these teams is going to stand tall and walk out with the NFC West division title. You got Matthew Stafford and the LA Rams taking on Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks. They're playing in Seattle, Lumen Field. Tough place to play. Another 12th man right there. But as much as I despise this team, there's something about those Rams, bro. I'm going to have to go with the Rams to beat the Seahawks, unfortunately. Eagles, Commanders. Eagles are on thin ice, so the Commanders haven't been playing good lately, especially even though Jaden Daniels came back from that injury. I'm going with the Eagles over the Commanders. Packers, Bears, these two had an instant classic in the last meeting. I would love to see this split because I just cannot see Caleb Williams taking a team to win a division right just yet. Bears are in first place right now, but I'm going to go with the Packers. So, Isaac, if you're watching, go Pack, go. Jets at the Saints, I'm going to be there in attendance. I said the Saints were going to beat the New York Jets. I think I said 37-10 or 27-10 or something like that. The Saints beat the Jets. Texans, Raiders, it's Battle Red in Houston. I said this was going to be either a 41-0 shutout or 47-10 victory for the Texans. Bills, Browns, give me Buffalo, beat the shit out of Shedeur Sanders and the Browns. Chiefs, Titans. This is going to be my toilet bowl of the week because you got no Patrick Mahomes and you got one of the worst teams in the AFC in the NFL. But I said the Chiefs were going to find a way to win even without Mahomes. So I might regret picking the Chiefs, but the Titans are just not doing it for me. So I'm going with the Chiefs. Chargers, Cowboys. Come on, Justin Herbert. Give me the Chargers. I need another Bubba Dub rant on the Cowboys. I think if the Cowboys lose this game, they're out of playoff contention too. And, that's what all America wants right now is the Cowboys not to make the playoffs. Vikings, Giants. Minnesota Vikings. Give me JJ McCarthy and the Vikings. Bucks and the Panthers. They're going to play again in 2 weeks, but this one I think is going to determine who's going to win the NFC South. And I'm going to have to unfortunately stick with what I said at the beginning of the season. I'm going with Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this game and potentially win the division and might take the Panthers out of playoff contention. Then we got the Bengals at the Dolphins. This was almost my toilet bowl of the week, but I think this is going to be a bounce back game for Joe Burrow and the Bengals because Miami is just dog shit, so I'm going with the Bengals. Jags and the Broncos. The Denver Broncos is the best team in the AFC right now. Bo Nix is him. Plus, for a chance for the Texans to win out and win the AFC South, the Jags need to lose at least one game to make it happen. And this is the first step. Broncos beat the Jags to help the Texans win the AFC South. Falcons, Cardinals. This is going to be a dog shit game too, but I'm going with the Cardinals. The Falcons are slowly degrading. Sunday Night Football. This game would have meant something if the Ravens were that good, but we got Drake May and the New England Patriots taking on Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. You know the Patriots are red hot after losing to the Bills and potentially would have had that division clinched. I'm going with the Patriots on the road against the Ravens. And then Monday Night Football, we got Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers taking on now Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts. Phillip Rivers at 45, 46 years old still got it in him. Give me Paul Phillips. Give me the dark horses, the dark Colts, you could say. Give me the Indianapolis Colts at home on Monday night against the 49ers. And ladies and gentlemen, despite all the technical difficulties I've had tonight, this will officially wrap up this shit show. If you've stayed and tuned in this whole hour and a half, I appreciate you. Ever since I've upgraded to this internet air shit, I've had some issues, but I'm hoping to intend to fix that. But thank y'all for tuning in. And I did say I had some type of announcement to make. It's nothing major, but with Christmas being next week, I know I usually go live at 9 p.m. Okay, most likely, but I'm going to do something. I'm not going to say I'm going to do something super crazy. I'm going to do something a little different, do something a little exciting. Give you a little Christmas joy. So with that being said, next week's live stream I will not do on Christmas Eve. I'm going to be finishing up my Christmas movie marathon. I'm going to be eating a bunch of junk food. But with that being said, there will be a stream next week, but it won't be at 9 p.m. on Christmas Eve. I am going to do it at midnight on Christmas. Yes, I'm going to type it in for you. Just so you know. And I'm taking the timer off. That's the announcement right there. Next week's stream, Christmas Day at midnight. So if you want to tune in, you got nothing going on, you're not going to sleep, Santa Claus coming to town. Come hang out with me at midnight on Christmas. That's going to be next week's stream. I'm going to do it like that. And I'm actually going to be pretty excited. Hopefully by then, maybe I'll have a Christmas miracle and the internet won't trip like it did tonight. So there you see right there. Not Christmas Eve. Next week on Christmas Day at midnight, I am going live on Driving to the Top to do my next stream of On the Go. And I'm now excited about it. But with that being said, if you're not tuning in, you're going to watch after. Hope everyone has a wonderful happy holidays or celebrate Christmas or whatnot. Or if you celebrate Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, Boxing Day, or any other holiday. Happy holidays to you all. But if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas to you all. We're going to have some fun. Christmas with Big Hoss next week at midnight. I'm excited. But other than that, I know there's sicknesses going around, especially down here. The weather being freaking antisocial. Cold one day, freezing another day, mid-warm another day. Everyone's getting the virus down here. Or the flu. Flu's going around. Protect yourself at all times. Wash your hands, folks. That's one key victim of not getting the flu. Wash your fucking hands. But other than that, stay safe. God bless. I love you guys. And I will see y'all at midnight on Christmas next week. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good one.